Hello there, welcome in. I know you're in chains, but do not fear. I will not be executing you today. No. That will be for the others to do. I am not French, nor am I really invested within this conflict that you're having, but from what I understand, people of your kind are not looked upon very well right now. Indeed. So, here is the way of it. I'm sure you have been in a cellar, in a prison, just sort of rotting, and I do think it is what you deserve, but let me just explain it to you, because I want you to understand why you're going through so much pain, and the deserved pain, of course. So, we're here because there is an uprising, there's a lot of guillotining, there's a lot of killing involved, of the aristocratic variety, and I have been hired by the people doing the guillotining to make sure that you're at least prim and proper and fresh for your death, right? See, the problem is the first few guillotinings that happened, it was a bit bloody. It really, there's a lot of gushing, let's just say, and there was some people that were starting to feel bad. They were looking at the dead people and they were like, oh, this are we the baddies? So, what they want is that they want me to freshen you up to make you look like you're still lavish, because we know that you are, of course, you hold immense power and you must be destroyed. But regardless, we just want to make sure that that is present within your visage. Does that make sense? So, you are not my first client, I must say. No, it's been a very busy day. When I signed up for this job, I honestly did not expect. I came from across the pond. I don't, you can probably hear it from my accent, but when I came across the pond, I did not expect just the type of violence that's happening here. You French people, I don't know. But regardless, anyway, just writing down, you have your little number and everything. Okay, all right, so that's all we need there. So we'll just go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to take a look at you. Every sort of aristocrat ends up having a bit of a different issues, right? So I'm just going to get a bit close here, and I'm going to look at you. So what I see, right? You have 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Very good so far. You have a couple of moles right here, and right here. Very beautiful, very wonderful. We can highlight them, yeah? Your eyebrows could do with a bit of work, right? Because they're very bushy. And, it's perhaps a bit in fashion to have, you want to have bright eyebrows, but you want to make sure that your eyebrows don't look like a madman. It doesn't matter your gender. Untamed brows can look, unless you're going for that, the sort of caveman look, I don't think that it's something that people really enjoy. I personally think that it's fine, but, people they want me to make you look like you're lavish, and you are, so we'll have to deal with that. Your hair has some twigs and some leaves in it, and it's a bit dirty from all the prison sleeping, right? You've been sleeping on the floor, is that right? That's right. So since you've been sleeping on the floor, I do think over here we'll do a bit of brushing. I think that will be very helpful for you. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two, right? It's never too late to learn. Just because, this is the last hour of your life doesn't necessarily mean that you should stop learning, I suppose that in this case, because you're going to die in an hour, you're old, right? Like, you can't teach a dog all tricks and sort of thing, but, it's still good to learn. And let's see here. You are looking a bit pale, for your skin tone. Anybody can look pale for their skin tone, and I do notice it here. Your skin tone is just a bit. Let's just say it's almost like you've been frightened, and I don't really understand why you're so frightened. The death is going to be quick. They do sharpen the guillotine. There's some guillotines where they come down and they just bounce, because it's really dull. But they're doing a very good job of simply sharpening the guillotine between each use. Now, there was that one incident. It went halfway down and then just sort of got stuck, and it wasn't really proper, and, it did traumatize the majority of the audience, but I will have to say that, these things tend to happen, and 90% of the time it'll work, 100% of the time, okay? So, with that, I do think that you need, so because you're pale, we'll fix that with a bit of color. We'll also give you a bit, something for the lips here. Your lips are a bit, knotted. They're knotted. And is that it? Do you need a necklace? Do you need something like a choker? Okay. All right. Well, that looks pretty good then. We'll go ahead and get started. First of all, let's just deal with the hair right away. I do think that the hair is probably the thing that people will notice from very far away. So you want to make sure you look less like haggard. So I've got myself a wee brush here. I'm going to go ahead and brush you to perfection. All right, so stay still for me. Yes, do not wriggle. You are constrained, but if you work for it, I can, loosen the constraints a little bit. I can't take them away completely. I'm not a madman, so stay still. All right, and here, let me just. Wonderful. So I'm going to work on your bangs here first. It's a bit dandruffy. It's a bit dandruffy. I've always heard that there's a wonderful serum that you can use, right? Because dandruff, from what I understand, it's alive, right? It's in there, and it's trying to suckle into your brain. Not very good indeed. So you kind of need to kill it. So there's a serum that can kill the alive bits, the living bits, let's say. Anyway, wonderful. So, how are you? Let's I've been gabbing too much, so let's hear about you. How have you been? Oh, I see. Not very well. That's understandable. But, God gives us good times and gives us bad times. This is just a bad time, It'll pass, forcibly, really. All right, so your bangs are looking pretty good. Now, it does seem like you have a bit of frizz. Let's see here. I have something for that. Yes. Okay, stay still. Wonderful. Okay, so that will help get rid of the frizz there. Yes, I'm just rubbing it in here. Wonderful. All right. Great. Wonderful. So, okay. So the frizz is gone on your bangs. I'm going to then now work on your sides and your back, okay? It shouldn't be too much of a problem, but there we go. Oh, how wonderful. Yes, so just because it is a hard time now doesn't mean that it will be hard forever. And you have to make peace with the fact that you were born into a society in which you were on top. You were the ones in power, and you neglected the people. You can't expect the people to simply take what you dish out willingly, right? So, if people get mad enough, if people feel like the ones who are meant to protect them are not, then really what all you're doing is breeding an uprising. So, honestly, what am I... If I'm being honest, I must say it's very endearing to see what's happening, but that's neither here nor there. That's your business. It's not my business. And why am I here? Yeah, well, I jumped across the pond because, I was talking to my mum and she was mentioning about how I wasn't doing anything with my life, and I felt very offended. I felt like I'm doing a lot. I'm doing, I talk to her. I say very kind things. I talk to my sister. I mention when our bakery tends to have, let's just say, less inventory than is manageable. And then, they ask me, well, why don't you get on with the baking? And I say, well, no, I'm not going to do that because my hands are precious to me and I do not want to ruin them making bread day in and day out. So they got pretty upset at that, but, it's really not my fault, But I came across here, I heard about what was happening, and I came across here to get a quick look, right? And then I got sort of roped into it, and, I'm not going to say no. I know what they can do with a guillotine, so. All right. Wonderful. Your hair's looking perfect. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm just going to add that little bit of anti-frizz so that when the blade comes down really, really strong, it doesn't disrupt your hair, okay? All right, so just, let me cover you. There we go. Is that good? Good. Okay, so next up, I'm going to have to deal with that paleness of your skin, right? I do think that it's very gauche. So it is very gauche to have such pale skin, paler than is your sort of natural skin tone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add, this is a wonderful little cream that I have, okay? So what I'm going to do is just add a bit to even out some of what's happening, and so that I can focus on adding colour where we want colour, right? So that I think is going to be pretty important. So let me just shake this up. Yes, this is very important. This was provided to me, to be honest. I have not been, working in a bakery doesn't exactly give you these skills, but to be honest, I've always been interested in it. A lot of the ladies end up using these sorts of skills and things, and I see them and I'm like, it's very interesting, to be honest. But, all right, so let us, here we go. And I'm just going to put a little bit on here, this thing right here. I found this on the ground. It's very, it's been really helpful, to be honest. So just put a bit, and we shall move on to, okay, so it's going to be a few pats, okay? So am I allowed to touch your face? Are you going to get mad at me? Don't get mad at me. I don't like it when people are mad at me. Okay, all right. So. Okay, yeah, see, I can see it right here. See what it's doing? It's doing a wonderful job here. Here and across your nose. Wonderful. Okay. Just going to now rub it. It's very good here. Yes. Yeah, I'm just trying to get it to, there we go. Nice and even. Then we're going to need something soft, right? So I have here a horse's tail, right? Then I also have some blush here. So what I'm going to do, it's a little bit rosy, right? And so it's going to add a bit of colour to your skin. So, can you smile for me? Smile big. Yes, wonderful. So I'm going to go for right here, just give you a bit of rosiness. And what that's going to do is it's going to make you look a bit more innocent, which will make people feel worse, right? They're going to feel like you look more innocent, you're trying to look more innocent, and therefore you are conniving. And that's the main thing that we're going for here. So let's go ahead. Stay still, please. Okay. So I'm pressing down on it here because I'm trying to get a nice shape to it. So. Okay, I'm just going to drag it down here. Because we want it to be a bit more innocent, like you're flushing a little bit. So if you drag it down, it'll look like you're flushing. There we go. There we go. Okay, now let's do the other side here. I think it's very good. It matches very well. There we go. There we go. You're doing a fabulous job, to be honest. You have not complained. And, I have talked to plenty of people, many of whom are not with us. So, I don't really know how to handle it, to be honest. I'm not very good with death, but they're not with us anymore. But, they're very upset, and they made it my problem. And it just, think of the workers, to be honest. If you're not, you might be dying, but, this is... I have to go home at the end of the day and think about what might be going on in my head, think about everybody, don't think about just yourself. Okay. Okay, wonderful. That looks wonderful. Now I do notice so that because it's just here, it's standing out a bit much. Do you think I should do a bit on the nose? What do you think? Now, should it look like you're sickly, right? If I put it on the nose? Just a bit on the nose, Yeah, I think that's good here. And a bit on the brow, and then the chin. There we go. I basically got rid of any colour in your skin and then put the colour back, but now it's in the right places, in the right amount, so... What is the right amount? Well, it's just what I believe, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You do not have to worry because you're not going to be here for long. So it's not like your opinion really matters. Okay, so I did say that it's important to keep your, your moles very prominent, right? So what I'm going to do here is I have a bit of an inkwell right here. Right here, it's a bit of an inkwell. I'm going to dip this here, and I'm just going to make them more prominent, right? So you have 3 on your face. Okay, dip it in. Okay. Closing it back up because we don't want any ink spillage. One time when I was practicing my penmanship, oh my word, I got ink everywhere and I stained my fingers for months. It was truly madness. Anyway, so first one, stay still. Okay. Second one, stay still. Third one, stay still. Okay. Is that good? Let me see, turn that way. Turn that way. I could do it again, to be honest here. I think a bit more. So I do think I didn't put enough. Okay. We want it. We want the audience to be able to see that you have these moles from very far away. You know, it's something that I am learning. If you're very far away, lots of subtleties sort of get blended away, but the things that are really prominent, the things that are really garish, can end up standing out, right? So let's just stay still for me. Okay, stay still for me. Okay, and stay still for me. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now the last thing I want to do here is what do I have here? This is not useful to me. No. What I need to do here is this. This is a board that, with a lot of uses. Now, I've noticed you've sort of neglected, neglected isn't the right word, your nails. They're a bit, let's just say, you've eaten them, right? And they're very pokey. You know, I've tried not to say anything. You know, to be honest, it's not my monkeys, but I do think that a bit of a filing would do all of us good, right? Because if someone sees that in the audience and they see that you've been chewing on it, then they might think, oh, you're nervous, right? And we want them to think that you are not nervous, that you are accepting your fate. Yeah, basically. So let's just go ahead here. You ready? Okay. So give me your finger. Finger, please. Nice. Isn't that good? Doesn't that feel good? There we go. Very good. Okay. Other hand, please. Okay. Very good. Very good. That's all we needed. I think you look dashing. You know, you look like, if you weren't, of course, going to be killed in an hour, then I think that you would have been, you would have gone to all the parties and eaten all the cake. So, I do know that nobody really said that of your variety, but to be honest, I do think that it doesn't really matter. So, let's go ahead and make peace. If you die, do not haunt me. I do not want to be haunted by you. Okay? I am just doing my job. So, it's definitely one, it's not going to be long, but it's going to be eventful. Okay? All right. Bye-bye then.